episode 95 of the podcast. This week, we're talking about handling fees and how to figure out pricing when a dog has a behavior problem. How do we go about this and still make a living? In the second part, we're going to talk about comfort and meeting a dog's physical needs. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. Let's talk about handling fees and pricing. Dogs with behavior issues take more time and effort, and we need to make money. Because this is a business after all, so how do we make sure that it's worth our while to take on a behavior issue? So first, let's remember that behavior problems are when dogs get hurt, people get hurt, and equipment gets broken. It's more than a bath and a haircut. And our pricing, in a perfect world anyway, our pricing is based on the time and supplies it takes to groom a dog who is well behaved and whose coat is well maintained. Let me repeat that because I think that that's important. In a perfect world, our pricing is based on the time and supplies it takes to groom a dog who is well behaved and whose coat is well maintained. So that's a reasonable expectation for our customers. Train your dog, brush your dog, get your dog groomed before they're a disaster. Our ideal client easily meets that criteria. So that's what our pricing is based on, grooming their dogs. So when a dog has a behavior issue to work on or to deal with, if a groomer isn't yet really convinced that working on it is in their best interest, they're still taking more time. More time. Whether you're working on the behavior problem or dealing with the behavior problems take more time. And where does that time come from? Let's think about that. Where does that time come from? In many cases, that would have been lunch. How many of us have worked through our lunch because the day got bogged down because a particular dog took us more time? Not that we saved him for lunchtime, but that everything got thrown off, and next thing you know, you're sitting at your table eating food with hair in it, right? While you groom. So let's not forget that that takes more time. It's not like we're leaving an extra hour every day for crazy stuff to happen. I mean, I hope not anyway, because you should be booking your day to make money efficiently. Again, our ideal clientele easily meets the criteria of having a dog who is calm, comfortable, and cooperative. Especially if we're on board with teaching every dog, right? If we're like, hey, this is just the norm. This is what it is to be a customer here, and let us help you get to that. Let us help you get to that. Anyway, so I want you to be thinking that you're not leaving an extra hour in your day for the behavior problems. And that's not free. That extra time is not free. When there's a dog on the schedule that we know takes extra time, extra supplies, extra effort, that could be matting, that could be, whatever it is, I want you to be thinking like, yeah, we booked that amount of time that we estimate the dog will need, and we charge accordingly. Charge accordingly. Let them know this is a time spent, effort, expertise, time, right? One of the things that I hear pretty often is I charge a handling fee. So on the surface, that probably sounds like a fine idea, a handling fee, right? But I'm going to break it down to you from a customer point of view. A handling fee sounds like an upsell. Customers will simply budget more for their grooming. They won't understand why one day you weren't able to finish something, or that their dog's face isn't looking fantastic, or if their dog got hurt. They're not thinking about safety anymore. They're not thinking about the behavior problem. They literally think that they're paying that extra money to make perfect grooms possible. Ponder that for a minute. They're paying extra money in the form of a handling fee so that you can do the trim they want. Ooh, that's not really what we want to sell, is it? It tells them that maybe we were ticked off or maybe we had trouble, but it doesn't really tell them what the problem is or the solution to it. And it sets us up for getting owners upset with us. I'm trying to help you prevent problems that you may not even know exist. Right? Because so many owners think that they're buying a grooming as if it were an item, not an ever-changing service. As if it were an item. It is an ever-changing service. Think about the customer who comes in and says, boy, I remember when grooming was $35. I actually had an older lady tell me that once. I'm like, I remember my first apartment. Oh my God. That first apartment was $365 a month. Let's just all sit back and think about the good old days, right? $365 a month, which by the way was a dive apartment, yeah, we won't even talk about that. It was a terrible place. But some of our customers, this is part of how they view they're buying a thing. As if we could put it in a box and just ship it to them. We need to remind people that this is a service and it's tailored service. So we don't have a box of Bichon trim. We can't just sell it to them. And it's not going to be the same from place to place. And it's not going to be the same from dog to dog. Think about the owner who calls around from place to place. How much for a Bichon trim? Right? And they often get told a set price or a price range. They may even hear about what that price range is based on, length of coat or the style, but they're still thinking that they're shopping for a thing and that our businesses and our pricing are going to vary a bit. But they're not thinking that they're shopping for our time, the time spent, the extra effort drying a Bichon who's in a longer coat than a Bichon who's always kept super, super short, right? They're not thinking about that. And it's not their fault, right? We have to train our clientele. We have to have an educated clientele who understands that stuff. So when a dog is having a problem with the grooming process, now remember the dog is having a problem, not giving us a problem. But when the dog is having a problem with the grooming process, what happens? Work slows down. Sometimes work comes to a screeching halt. And if we charge a handling fee, it's like telling them they're buying a box of Bichon grooming and this can of handling fee. And that'll make everything all right. It's like the adapter set that they need to make it work. As if they're buying computer components and need to buy a cable also. So now they're going to be ticked off if it doesn't work. Because they thought they were literally buying the solution. This is why I have a problem with the handling fee. I don't have a problem with how much you charge. I have a problem with the message it sends the customers about your valuable time and your expertise and their dog's issue and the problem that needs to be solved, right? They're literally thinking they bought the solution. So now they're going to get angry when you couldn't get it done anyway. Or when you charge them full groom price when their dog isn't fully groomed. Because they're thinking they bought a Bichon trim and by golly, they deserve a Bichon trim, right? And then you added a handling fee and they still didn't get their Bichon trim and they're mad. And I kind of feel for them. They kind of need to know, yeah, you didn't buy a Bichon trim. You're paying for a groomer to try to put your dog into a Bichon trim. And this is what we need to do, right? So they're going to get angry because they don't understand. So instead of handling fees, we can tell people about our safety policy before they ever even have a problem. Hey, by the way, if your dog has trouble with grooming and has a behavior problem crop up, what we do here is, for the safety of your dog, for the safety of our staff, we calm the dog down and we try to work through the problem and help them be calm, comfortable, and cooperative. We simply don't want your dog to get hurt. It's a haircut and all of our tools are sharp. Everything that we use on a dog could potentially hurt them. Okay, so you need to be thinking about explaining a safety policy and explaining, I'm booking time for you. It's about how much time this takes us to do. How much time is it going to take? People understand that. All right, we might have to explain it a little bit, but you know what? When we start talking about how much time it takes to groom their dog versus how much time it takes to groom the dog who is really well behaved, right? Who wouldn't want to do 2 well-behaved dogs in the time it takes to do 1 misbehaving dog? Right? I mean, owners will see that. Like they can do the math. Like, oh, wait a minute. So 2 well-behaved border collies could get groomed in the same amount of time as it takes my border collie who wants to rip your face off. I could see why maybe you'd want to charge me 2 border collies. And I mean, certainly the math isn't going to be like double, but I want you to be thinking, like, explain it to them that I have to spend more time. Therefore, you are being charged for more time. And it's not going to be the same amount every time. And I'm not going to call it a handling fee, right? It's not because I'm having trouble handling your dog. It's because this is literally taking longer. And it shouldn't have to. Remember what I said about our ideal client can easily meet the criteria of having their dog be trained. Their dog is well behaved. Their dog is well maintained. They don't wait until their dog is totally matted, right? That's pretty normal stuff for our average customer. And the ones whose dogs are having trouble, we want to help them. So we're setting it up. We're telling them, listen, I want to help your dog be better, but that's not free. It's not free. Don't lose money working on dogs if owners are not on board with helping them be better. Because that dog will come back every year, year after year. Who knows how often they come in. Sometimes it's that we groom him every April, whether he needs it or not, but that dog is going to come back and be a problem every single time. That's not your clientele. Nope. That's a ticking time bomb. That's an injury waiting to happen. So we need to be talking to our owners about how pricing works and let them know. Like, there are times where I've had to tell people, listen, I'm having some problems right now, and I'm going to get the majority of the important stuff done. Like, try to get like around the eyes. Usually if a dog is giving me a problem, I'll kind of tell people, and again, see, even I say it, giving me a problem. Dog is having a problem. But I'll tell them, listen, your dog is having trouble with this today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the most important things done first, which are usually, sani, nails, ears, eyes, cleaning around the eyes, getting the bath done. You think about like set some priorities and then work toward, if we can get beautiful trim, great. But there are plenty of times, especially as a house call groomer, where I'm like, my next appointment is at 1, and I don't have extra time for you today. I didn't know we were going to be needing extra time. When I explained my safety policy to you and asked you if you had any behavior problems, you said no. Oh, what? Did I just throw that in an owner's lap? Yes, I did. I sure did. Throw it back in their lap. Does your dog have any known behavior issues? Does your dog have any trouble being groomed? We can spare ourselves some heartache. The people who come back and they're like, oh, yeah, we were really hoping he'd be good for you. We didn't tell you about his nail problem because of whatever. It's like, how dare you put everybody's safety at risk like that? No, you have to disclose this to us. So when we start talking to our owners, be thinking about that. I might not have extra time for your dog today. I'll charge you what we worked on. I'll charge you for the time that we spent. And I think that has value when we explain it as the time that we spend working on your dog, helping your dog be better for the process that we need to do. Once in a while, you will have someone say, I'm not going to pay a groomer to train my dog. Good. Bring him back trained. Yeah, just spell it out for them. Good. Bring him back behaving like a reasonable dog. Go work with a trainer. Go work with them on your own. Whatever it is you want to do. But if you don't want to pay me to work on the problem, don't bring the problem to me. Get the problem solved, and I will groom your dog when they're really well behaved. But we need to make sure that the message we're sending is that behavior problems are extra time. And sometimes they cannot be done perfectly. And I'm not trying to upsell you. It's not like I've added and a nail grind, do you want a bow? This isn't an upsell. This is about the time that we spend trying to do a really nice job on their dog. And when we word it as a handling fee, yeah, it doesn't get that message across. They don't understand it. They don't understand why a handling fee doesn't solve all the problems. They will just have the check pre-written and budget for the handling fee. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. Let's talk about comfort. It's one of the 3 C's in calm, comfortable, and cooperative, one of the goals for every dog. In some cases, we're talking about emotional comfort. That's kind of a frilly term, isn't it? So feeling comfortable with tools, procedures, environments, feeling comfortable with the people, all those things. In other cases, we're talking about a dog's physical comfort. And it could be something like putting a paw mat on the table or in the bottom of the tub to help keep them from slipping around. It could be a happy hoodie or cotton in the ears to help with loud noises, things like that. This week I saw a question about how to work with dogs who aren't good about having their front legs done. So my first step, and hopefully yours, gather clues. Let's find out more about this. So first step is gather clues. Is it just front legs? Yeah, front legs. So this groomer's having problems with dogs with front legs. And I've heard this before, right? So to my ear, that indicates some sort of discomfort. Anyone else have that problem? Because I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? A lot of people complain to this. And I started looking around. A lot of people complain to this, right? And I dug a little deeper. And I'll say sometimes I go up to a dog, and they're fine for their front legs for me. But they were really having a hard time minutes ago with someone else. Minutes ago, someone else was having a hard time with this dog with their front legs. And then at some point this week, it hit me like a ton of bricks. All right. So, well, first of all, my first answer to this was that it turns into a little bit of an anatomy lesson. When you pick up front feet or a front leg, the dog shifts their body weight. Most of their body weight is on their front legs. For most dogs, on average, I believe it's 60% on the front legs, 40% on the back legs, varying, of course, dog to dog, ages, things like that. But many dogs will shift their weight to their back legs or rock to the side. So if we're trying to scissor a front leg, we're trying to do some pretty detailed work or something, we might be thinking, I need you nice and square. But I need you to remember, the person holding the front leg will feel a little bit of a pull when we pull up a front leg if the dog is shifting into their back feet. And they're just readjusting. So if we expect that and go with it, that's not the same as pulling away. That's just regaining their balance. So be aware and expect them to pull back. But the bigger part of the anatomy lesson, and the part that made me go, oh my God, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, wait a minute, are people making this mistake? I gotta say, it's a blind spot for me because I have a really strong animal background. I went to an Aggie, Essex Agricultural and Technical Institute in Hawthorne, Mass, class of '89. Woohoo! Shout out! But we had anatomy classes, all 4 years. So all sorts of animals, and I think that sometimes in grooming, we have like charts of what body places are, but not necessarily how they move. So I want you to think about this gap in our knowledge. So for a dog to reach their front feet out in front of themselves, they need to bend their elbow. Look at dogs when they're fully extended. During running or when they lay down with their feet straight out, the elbow is bent. So imagine that the shoulder has some movement in it, but the shoulder doesn't move their leg out forward. And I think sometimes as groomers, we're trying to get that leg to be straight and then pull it up straight. And of course, the dog has nowhere to go but to pop upward or start struggling because we're trying to bend an area that doesn't bend. So if you bend his elbow, then let him get his balance a little bit and guide the leg or the foot to wherever you need it to be. And I think you will notice a difference. And if not, that's okay, because how do we test that? How do we test if that's the problem? Well, we test it by giving it a go. So the next dog that you're working on, who's being a little bit fussy about their front legs, who maybe doesn't want the clipper down their front legs, take a moment, look at the situation, gather your clues. Is it just front legs? Is this leg matted? Is there something sore? Right? Gather your clues, but then bend the elbow, let the dog get their balance, then guide the leg and see if it changes. And that's how you can readjust this so that you're not having dogs that are terrible for their front legs because they're not trying to be. So as an example, a human example, if you tried to turn my head to the left, there's only so far it can go. And then what happens next? You keep turning my head. I need to move my shoulders. I'm going to need to twist my spine. Eventually, I'm going to need to take a step to the left, right? Like my whole body's going to have to turn unless you break my neck, right? So if we think about that, raising a front leg, the shoulder, if we're keeping the leg straight, the shoulder only rocks a little bit, right? I mean, it has a lot of power and it has a lot of muscle, but it does not move fully out. So if it rocks just a little bit, it gives us just a little bit of chance to pull that foot forward. Like if you just kind of want to guide it up a little bit to see what it's going to look like when they're running or something, you know, like it gives you a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle room. But if you're trying to pull that leg up without bending the elbow, the dog can't bend that way. And like I said, it hit me like a ton of bricks that, yeah, groomers are looking at like body parts, but not necessarily the way those body parts move together. And I realized that in the middle of the night and went, oh my God, I could be so much more effective teaching if I get better at reminding myself that not everyone knows anatomy. So that is one of the ways that we can make a dog more comfortable, or that we can recognize discomfort. You know, especially if this is, you know, it's just the front legs, right? And this dog is normally really, really good. Well, maybe it's us. And it's okay to say, maybe it's us. Maybe it's us. We're just continuously learning. We're always going to keep learning. You know, we're in this for the long haul. I hope anyway. Grooming is so much fun. I mean, we really have to stay into it. But not everything is a training issue. And not everything is a behavior problem, right? And that's why comfort is one of the big important things there in calm, comfortable, and cooperative. Because we also have to think about the living being that we're working on. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course, the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.